welcome to Gulfstream today, and welcome to Gulfstream Park. Ron Nicoletti, along with Acacia Courtney. It is Sunday. We're ending our fun week of racing with an 11-race card. We got a fast main track, firm turf course, and should be a fun day of racing.
Yes, it should be. It's just a beautiful Sunday afternoon. It's always a good time here at Gulfstream.
Yeah, and we got a lot to talk about today. I can't talk, but we got a lot to talk about. Let's take a look at our wagering menu as we'll just jump right into it today. We've got the Rolling Super High Five starting in race number 1. Already over $3,000 in that pool, so that'll be a lot of fun. And, of course, we offer you 2 pick fives, and our first pick 5 will be in race number 1. Acacia will have our ticket in just a couple of moments. And then we're going to skip ahead to our Rainbow Six today. Over that $100,000 mark. They had $160,000 bet into it yesterday. Of course, there's payouts, so it's going to be up near there, if not more, this afternoon. And we end the day race number 7 with this 11-race card with another pick 5 ticket from Acacia. And first race, as we mentioned today, beautiful day here in South Florida. A little breezy, sunny conditions, fast main track, firm turf course. First race is on the grass. Maiden special weight 2-year-old fillies, and that's what makes this race so much fun. And, a lot of these 2-year-olds trying to turf for the first time. Blinkers on the number 4. Crystal Avalanche, and let's take a look at your ticket.
Yeah, and as you said, no better way to kick off today with a fun maiden special weight race here. So you see, I went 4 deep in this opener. Wasn't able to settle on a single in the early pick 5 today. I went 2 deep in the next 3 in race number 3, and then 2 deep in the final 2 legs for $48. But I really did think that this first race was the most fun one, and it's a good way to kick off the sequence here.
Yeah, and you did the exact right thing. We don't know yet if they're the right horses, but certainly a good race to go deep because there's so many great horses and angles in here. And interested to see how you started off. We both went with the number 7 horse in here, and that's Arcella.
Well, this one from the Wesley Ward barn, trying the turf for the first time. It's been running over in Kentucky, had debuted at Keeneland and maiden special weight company, finished 4th that day, but beaten only by 3 lengths. Then dropped down to a maiden claiming company, actually debuted against the boys and ran well too. Ran against fillies last time out and was well beaten. I'm not quite sure what's happening there. Now trying her hand over at Gulfstream and going to try the turf once.
Yeah, and overall, Wesley Ward with his turf sprinters does a very good job. He's always batting about 25%. So just thought of those performances that this might be the right one, but by no means can you single a horse like this in this particular race. Now, you went towards the outside with number 9, Little Heart, in second.
Well, as I mentioned, I thought that this was a pretty wide open race to start it off, and this was a horse that I had some interest in. From the barn of Carlo Vaccarezza, been working pretty steadily coming into today. Half to a graded stakes place horse named Hearts on Fire. She's a 2-year-old by Uncle Mo. We actually want to give you a stat on Uncle Mo. Sire stat in the past 5 years with 2-year-olds on the turf. About 21% win average, 7 for 34, so pretty strong over there. Thought that was interesting to see how Uncle Mo's do on the turf.
Yeah, we'll check that out. And then the horse currently up there at 9. One of the horses I did not use on my ticket, but I can understand just on the breeding alone, good conditions with Carlo Vaccarezza, the trainer. I did use the number 10 in second, and that's Bella Vincenza. And this one is debuting on the turf after an eventful career debut on the main track in which she was steadied at the start. She was caught 5-1 on the turn, turning for home, and she finished 6th, but she was behind stakes place Lyrica and the next out winner called Mia, going 5 furlongs on the dirt. So there was excuses in this race. Going to try and see if she can run better on the turf course this afternoon. I just thought that was a logical horse. Eddie Castro will be in the saddle this afternoon.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you that this one could be a logical one. She has to deal with the outside post here and her first time on the turf. I ended up adding the number 5, Southern Sis, who you used as well. This one from the Marcassi barn, a 2-year-old filly by Cantharos, and I think pretty primed based on breeding for the turf.
Yeah, bred on both sides of the family tree to run very well on the turf, so a logical choice. And are very early in the wagering right now. 8-5 on the board, but this is one fun way to start the day because you could make a case for all the horses in the race, not just some, all of them in there, because a lot of horses, 2-year-olds, seen how they handle the grass this afternoon. Race number 2, 7 furlongs, claim is 3 and up. Non-winners of 2 in life or 3-year-olds. $30,000 down to $25,000. You went with the number 2 horse in here, and that's West Shore Drive.
West Shore Drive, cutting back in distance and dropping in class a bit. I'd been running a couple of races on the turf over at Tampa and found a sloppy track last time out that was taken off of the turf. That was at 1 1/16. Finished pretty well that day, finishing 3rd. Now in the barn of David Fox, and as I mentioned, getting some class relief and going to try that 7 furlongs.
Yeah, Matt Rispoli in the saddle. Not one of the horses I used on my ticket. I found this race a little, hard to really zero in on, and I did decide to go with the number 3, Honest Flight. Stepping up, stretching out, tracked the pace last time out, got the lead at the quarter pole, and then ended up finishing 2nd against $16,000 condition claimers. That was going 6.5 furlongs. That was on a sealed track that day. Was listed as good. Kathleen O'Connell, Luca Panici in the saddle, good combination. See how number 3, Honest Flight, runs in there. I believe this one is 6-1 on the morning line.
Yeah, so we're both going for a little bit of a price on top. Hopefully it stays that way. We both use the number 1, Let's Be Frank. This one 3rd last time out. After moving back over to the dirt, that was at 6.5 furlongs at this level of competition. Well beaten that day, but the winner that day looks good, was pretty runaway winner, won by nearly 5 lengths. So you see beaten by 7. I thought finished up pretty strongly and does have a win at this distance.
Yeah, and it looks like the right move they made when they dropped the last time out to run 3rd behind that winner, as you mentioned. Then the 3rd horse we both used, I had it in 2nd, you had it in 3rd, was the number 6, Kokomo Wildcat.
I want to go back and show the most recent start for this horse. Just had a really tough break last time out, gets slammed back at the start. You see the number 4 there, and it's just really had about bumped around. A lot of races you see horses that get pushed around at the start a bit, but she really got the brunt of it, or he really got the brunt of it, excuse me, in that race there, and just didn't have a chance to do any running.
Yeah, trained by Larry Pilati, ridden today by Eddie Castro. So we're sort of in agreement with 2 of the horses here, but we both went with a little bit of a shot on top in there. Me with the 3, and Acacia with the number 2. Let's go to the 3rd race this afternoon. 7.5 furlongs on the turf. Starter optional claimer, 3-year-olds and up, or the optional claiming price of $50,000. We do have a scratch of the main track only, number 8, Chepstow, and got one of my favorite horses returning today, and that is Joe's Blazing Aaron. And I want to go back and show you a performance of this horse. 2 starts before the layoff back on September 25th. And what I'm showing here, this horse, there's one way this horse is going to run. He's going to go to the lead, and he's going to run. You see, he's basically cruising home here in the wire, and this is a pretty nice race, and he's stakes place. He's speed, that's his game, and Peter Walder is the trainer, and he worked 59 and 3 in preparation for this return. This horse, you think he's getting caught here, but you can see the jock is just sitting on the horse and just watching him to the wire. He was really never really in trouble. And the reason I showed that race, it was his last victory, 2 starts back, as I mentioned, just that's his game. Speed on the grass, and he's going to go.
Yeah, he certainly is one that you have to respect in here. The reason I had a hard time putting him on top is because that last victory was in September. Yeah. He hasn't raced since October. It's been about 9 months since he's been to the track. And yes, he's going to be speed. He was very well beaten last time out, so maybe a need for some sort of break here, but coming off of that layoff, and so there's still some question marks there, though he certainly is one to respect, and I had him on there for all those reasons.
Yeah, and the reason I did go, besides being one of my favorite horses, that a couple of sharp work, so it looks like he's coming back in good form, but I can understand totally having the number 1 horse, Indian Guide, on top of your ticket.
Well, this one's cutting back in distance. Last couple of starts were at 1 1/16, was 3rd last time out, beaten just by 2 3/4 lengths, had a really nice victory, 2 back by more than 4 lengths, and this is a horse that can sit just behind the speed, and I think you're absolutely right that Joe's Blazing Aaron is going to go out to the front. I think Indian Guide sits a good trip right behind.
And I have to be fair and mention, there's a lot of other speed in this race, so Joe's Blazing Aaron is the speed of the speed if he comes back off that layoff, but there's a lot of speed, and Mike just set up for Indian Guide, and Indian Guide, as you mentioned, 3rd last time out to Air Bueno, who came back and won a stake in its next start. So the logical choice in there, we got our exacta flip-flop. Then you went to the number 3 in here with little Baltar?
Well, this one has some early speed as well. Fifth last time out in the Raymond Earl at a mile on the turf. Beaten just about 3 lengths, so has to avoid getting in some sort of pace duel with Joe's Blazing Aaron. Again, I think if everybody ends up going out to the front, if Joe's Blazing Aaron isn't able to be the speed of the speed, so that's something that little Baltar will certainly need to be cautious
Well,
of.
let's mention another speed horse in here, number 4, Star Contender.
at it.
It's cutting back to 7.5 furlongs after setting the pace and getting nabbed late. Went third behind aforementioned Air Bueno. That was at 75,000, 1 mile and 1/16 Miesque's approval. So turning back in distance. So lots of speed, like we said. Joe's Blazing Aaron, at least on paper, the speed of the speed, and it looks like it might set up for the one Indian guy. But just one of those fun races here where you got to try and figure out what is going to happen as far as the pace is concerned. Fourth race this afternoon, 1 mile and 1/16 maiden claim is 3 and up, $10,000. No scratches or jockey changes in race number 7. And we are in total agreement here in race number 4. You went with the number 7, Pasador.
Well, this one moved over to the barn of Saffie Joseph Jr. last time out. Finished second, beaten just by half a length. That was when stretching out to the mile distance. Going to stretch out even a little bit more today to a mile and a 16th. And I think certainly sets up well for this level, and I think a little bit of extra real estate.
Yeah, and the number 2 horse in here, Feronius, I believe it is another try in this distance for the first time after displaying early tactical speed, hitting the board in 3 consecutive races against similar competition, going a mile. I think the 7's the right horse, but I think the 2 is the right second horse.
Well, certainly will be taking some money given the fact that he was so close up to the winner's circle the past couple of starts, but that's the reason that I couldn't put him on top. He's 0 for 15 so far. He hasn't been able to really get there. Second last time out, third before that, and second before that. So probably going to be up there once again. He may pull it off and win it, but I went elsewhere.
Yeah, and we also used the number 3. Let's Go Irishman is stretching out after responding last time to that surface switch to the main track with a late closing third behind aforementioned horse we just were talking about.
Well, this one moved back over from the turf to the dirt, has a good late run, so not sure how much speed he'll be able to run at in this race, but I think he certainly might be able to hit the board.
And how deep did you go on your pick 5 ticket when you did this race?
Well, I did, I just used the top 2 horses in here.
Yeah, I think those are the logical 2 in there because I was going to say, that's a tough one there, but it looks like the logical 2 of those 2.
Yeah.
Race number 5 this afternoon, 1 mile and 1/16 of the turf. Claim is Phillies Mares 3 and up, non-winners of 2 races in life. Scratch the main track only in here, number 12, Il Fitrada. And I went with the number 4, and so did you, and that's Queen of Silence.
This one was third last time out at a mile and a 16th on the turf when stretching out to this distance. That was against $16,000 claimers. Now going to get a little bit of class relief here. Was only beaten by a length and 3/4 that day, so I think certainly primed with a little bit of the drop here today.
2 in a row, exactly alike. What's going on here? We don't usually do that. Princess Moon is the 7, is another drop in on the claiming scale after rallying along the inside, finished 4th. Only a nose behind Queen of Silence in their last race. It was you had to separate them. They were basically hit the wire together. So if you like one, I sort of think you got to use the other one somewhere on the ticket.
My thinking exactly. Then also use the number 3 Hot, who's 6-1 on the morning line. Very well beaten last time out when trying winners for the first time, but going to stretch out once again to the distance where she broke her maiden. And if you look back, last time out, got brushed at the start a little bit, didn't get that clear start that she needs. She needs to be closer to the front end. So maybe back to the distance where she definitely feels comfortable and hopefully a clean break.
Yeah, good connections there, as you mentioned, with Dan Kabisky, written today by Eddie Castro. So, it's the old bounce, rebound angle or trouble last time out. Good way to look at that race there. 5, 7, and 3 for us. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll have the Rainbow 6 ticket, or at least my Rainbow 6 ticket this afternoon. Can match it up to yours. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Gulfstream today, Ron and Acacia. And as we predicted, or as we said, I predicted, no predicted involved here, predicting involved here. The Rainbow Six starts in race number 6. It's a 7-furlong claimer, 3 and up, non-winners of 3 races in life, or 3-year-olds. And a big scratch in here of the morning line favorite, number 6, Nevsky in here. And we're going to show you my Rainbow Six ticket quickly, and then we will get to how we saw this race. I went 3 deep, 3, 4, 3, and you see on the last race, I'm singling in the last today with the number 5 horse, and that's Starship Carnegie, and I just think that's the logical one. Steve Dwoski, Miguel Vasquez, it's a daughter of Super Saver. So I wanted to go deep because I thought these races were very competitive, wide open, and went 3 deep in here, and I actually had Nevsky on top of my ticket, scratched into the one General Shema.
Well, I had Nevsky on top as well. I ended up throwing General Shema on top, but I went to the number 5 Rontos Dream for my top selection. Moved over into the barn of Eduardo Esplora last time out and finished second. Was beaten just by 4.5 lengths that day, so it was a bit of a runaway winner there. That was against 62.50 claimers. This wasn't a horse that I originally wanted on top, but I think with the scratch of Nevsky, might be able to get the job done. Sammy Camacho in the saddle.
Yeah, Sammy Camacho. I went with the one General Shema, as I said, because I like the fact that this horse is 6 for 11 the money at this distance of 7 furlongs, 11 starts, 2 wins, 2 seconds, and 2/3, stretching out. Close to finish third at 3/4 of a mile. Is a little pace dependent in there. We'll see how it works out with that horse. Like we said, we both had Nevsky on top of our ticket. Then we went, you went in second with the number 3 horse, and that's a Manny Blue Boy. And I know this is a horse that we have a lot of fun with. Turning back to 7 furlongs today.
Turning back to 7 furlongs, and 2 back. I had run at the 7 furlongs. That was on a good track that day. Finished a very good third, beaten just by 2 lengths. 4th last time out when stretching out to the mile, but does have a win at this 7 furlong distance, and I think a little bit of the turn back might be a good one for this. The reason I couldn't put General Shema on top is because if you look in the past performances, last several starts have been in the money performances, but hasn't been able to get to the winner's circle just yet. But especially with the scratch, this becomes a very wide open race.
Yeah, and the reason I went 3 deep, and I hope I have the right 3 on my Rainbow Six ticket. Let's go to race number 7, 7.5 furlongs on the turf claimers. They're fillies and mares, 3-year-olds, and up with $10,000. We do have one scratch in here of number 8, Summer at Susan's, and still have a big field of 11 runners on the turf. Not an easy one to figure out, and I know this is where you had your late pick 5 ticket starting.
Yes, late pick 5. We're going to predict that the late pick 5 will start right here in race number 7. You see my single came in the 9th race today. That's going to be with the number 10 horse there. That's Bonita. I thought that was certainly going to be the logical selection in that race, but I think that this was a really tough one to single, and I went 3 deep in the last leg. I did use that number 5 that you singled, but a tough sequence here, but I found a single trying to keep it affordable for $40.50.
A very good prediction, by the way. Let's take a look at race number 7. I went with the 6, Little Twitch on top, who moved to the Marcial Navarro barn via the claim. Turns back to this 7.5 furlong distance, stalked the pace, finished third against Simler, going a mile in the 16th. The new connections have Jesus Rios atop this. Winner of 2 of 4 races at this distance, 7.5 furlongs or a mile.
Yeah, we showed a stat yesterday that Marcial Navarro does very well with first off the claim, and this one finished strongly last time out to be third, but I think the little bit of the turn back in distance is going to be a benefit for Little Twitch.
And you went with the number 1, Lil Miss Smarty K, who I have a third on my ticket, who's going to break from the rail today.
Breaking from the rail. Last time out, finished second behind Reina In, who's the number 11 that we both used on here as well, but was fairly well beaten that day, but I think certainly eligible to improve off of that performance. Reason that I ended up putting her in second on here. If you go 2 back, ended up being bumped at the start, had some traffic troubles in that one. I think you put a line through that race and based off the most recent performance.
Well, number 11, Rein It In, will try and make it 2 in a row. Follow the 3rd place finish on the turf, going a mile back on June 5th with a rousing 2.5 length score last time out at odds of 20-1. At this level and distance.
So we want to give you a stat on trainer Tammy Levy. In the past 5 years with horses that won last time out, won their most recent start, 26 for 108, about 24% in the win column, but in the money 55% of the time, so very strong there. $1.73 ROI, but certainly not going to be a huge surprise if Rein It In gets it done again.
Yeah, and if you look at this horse, this mare's past performance certainly does the best running on the turf, which you will be doing this afternoon. So that race number 7, as we mentioned, is where the late pick 5 starts. Our final pick 4 of the afternoon starts in race number 8. 5.5 furlongs, maiden special weight filly 2-year-olds. Got a scratch in here of number 3, Loving Valentina. And both of us went to the number 2, and that is Cali, California.
Well, this one's finally going to get a fast track after 2 starts so far. The first one was on a sloppy track. It was a good track last time out. Both performances have been strong. Third in her debut and then second last time out. So she's certainly going to have some unknowns because this will be her first time on the fast track. But based off of this field, she has the experience. She's been tested, and I think certainly can set up for the win today.
You went with the number 11 outside, Bill's Legacy. I did not use this horse on my ticket. I want to hear why you did. Second choice in the morning line.
Well, this one from the Stanley Gold Barn. Yes, we'll have to deal with the outside, so that's going to be a little bit of a guess there. But a 2-year-old filly by Gone Astray. And I liked the workout pattern coming in here and hopefully able to ride with the Tyler Gaffleone success that he's had lately. Had 4 wins yesterday, so I've been going very strongly. And as I mentioned, Stanley Gold, he actually has 2 in here. Also has the number 4, Devilish Romance.
Well, the horse that we both have some interest in is the 6, Faith and Works, who's stretching out an additional half furlong. Duel for the lead last time out, faded to finish 4th, but that was that fruitful 5 furlong sprint that produced that next out stakes winner, stakes place runner Lyrica, and the next out winner Mia. So earlier on the card, it's on the turf, but this race seems a couple of good horses have been coming out of it. So off that, threw this one on the ticket.
Yeah, I mean, this horse has been keeping some really good company. You mentioned the most recent one, and then 2 back, finished behind Lyrica, and a really nice filly from the David Fox barn named Perfect K, and in her debut behind eventual stakes winner Bodie's Dream. So she's certainly been keeping some company with some good horses, so we'll see if she can get a good trip today.
I want to mention a horse in here that I think you might want to take another look at, and that's the 5, Hello Juliet. It's the daughter of Adios Charlie, who may have tipped her hand, when she worked a couple of really solid half miles over the stamina-enhancing Gulfstream Park West main track. Rohan Crichton has a strong front-running jock, Josie Gomez, in the saddle. Josie Gomez riding today. She loves to go to the front with horses. Got a couple of good works. Maybe this one tries and go out and steal it. 8-1. You might want to give this one a second glance.
And you'll get a little price on there. And an interesting note, this one's a half to a stakes winner named Lisa's Booby Trap. So might be an interesting one at a good price.
Race number 9 this afternoon, 1 mile on the turf. It's an allowance optional claimer. These are state-bred fillies and mares 3 and up, and they can run for that optional claiming tag of $12,500. And we do have a scratch in here of number 9, Some Florida Sun Fun. They try and tongue twist us all the time in here. Well, at least me, at least. And I went with the number 1, Summer's Back, on the ticket. And this one was working on a 3-race win streak on the turf until this happened last time out, which we're going to show you the start of. So you will see this now. And I just thought, game over here. She just stays in the gate. And this horse was running in great form. And after this race, I just showed the beginning, ended up only losing by 4.5 lengths after spotting the field an insurmountable lead. So she's going to depart from the rail. Her 3-race win streak on the turf ended, as I mentioned. She was beaten 4.5. She's the one to fear, I think, with a clean break in here. I'm going to go back to those past things, past performance, put a line through the last and see if she can get another job done.
Yeah, and she's 8-1 on the morning line. So you'll get, I don't think that she'll go off at that. I think that she'll get some more attention based off of that 3-race win streak that she had. As I mentioned, this is actually the race where my single came, and that was me trying to keep it affordable. But I do think that number 10, Bonita, is going to be the one to beat in here if Summer's Back is able to go back to her previous form. But it's an if. She had that race last time out. So I went with the number 10, Bonita, who is coming out of a 3rd-place finish in the Christmas Pass stake. That was at a mile and the 16th on a good turf. Hasn't won a race since October, but I think spotted well in this one and could sit a nice trip.
Yeah, she unfurled her patented late run last time out to finish 3rd behind Loose on the lead, Sharp Kitty, as you mentioned, in the Christmas Pass. She's classes up perfectly in the spots on the class level. She's the one to beat in here. Still don't understand Christmas Pass in the summer, but that's a story for another day. So now you also use the number 8 horse in here, and that is Sweet Miri.
Yeah, I threw this one on, and I think that she's going to have some of the main speed in here. She will probably be on the front end, and she's been in very good form lately. 3 back on a sloppy track taken off the turf. She won by 10 1/4 lengths, a very impressive win there, and then had 2 races back on the turf with showing some speed there, a third and a second.
I went with a bit of a pricing here at 12-1, and it's a horse for course play. It's number 3, Reagan's Odyssey, who's back on what is definitely her favorite turf course. 5 races on this course with 3 wins and 1/3, with the tactical speed I believe needed to score from on or just off the pace at this 1 mile distance. It's a daughter of Cantharos. I like that. Eddie Castro in the saddle. The old horse for course play, 12-1 on the morning line.
Yeah, and going for some good prices in this race.
Yeah, this exactly comes in. I'll be doing all right. Who else did you use?
That's it.
That's right. Summer's back. See, I am sharp this afternoon. All right, race number 10. 1 mile claim is 3 and up, non-winners of 2 races in life. And we got our old buddy back in here, and that is the number 7, Papa Pig, who I put on top. You went with the number 2 horse in here, Madrus.
I did. The reason I didn't put Papa Pig on top is because he's second in his last 2 starts, having a hard time getting to that winner's circle. Certainly one to respect in here, but I ended up going with a horse that looks to be spotted well with the class relief here. Last couple of starts were against 12-5 Company. The last one was at the mid-May, so he's coming in a fresh horse as well. Well beaten last time, but as I said, now going to drop to the 62.50 level, also stretching out to the mile. So we'll see if all of those things come together in a good way.
Well, Papa Pig, who I put on top, is hoping the 3rd time is the charm after the recent pair, as you mentioned, of 2nd place finishes against this caliber competition. But you see the trainer there, Antonio Sano. Boy, what a day he had yesterday with 3 wins. So I just thought maybe Papa Pig, this is the day. I mean, I would definitely not single this horse. So you got to use them. We basically have the same try, just in different order. And we both used the number 8, Wagga Wagga.
Wagga Wagga with Luca Fenici in the saddle. Well beaten in the past couple of starts since trying winners and after breaking his maiden. But he's going to drop down in class again today. Another one getting some class relief there. And he's also going to stretch out to the mile.
Yeah, in that last race, he finished 4th behind. Next out winners, Carupano, Chia Ghost, and Cold Blood. So it was a fruitful $10,000 condition claimer going 6 furlongs. But it was back on May 26th. So class relief coming out of a key race. We'll see how that runs. And Papa Pig, you're going to give that one more chance to maybe get the job done today. But somewhere you got to have him on the ticket there. The 11th and final race of the week here at 7.5 furlongs on the turf. Maiden claimers, fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, $12,500. We do have some scratches in here of the 1, the 3, and the 13. Looks like the 14 is going to get in and run, but our track announcer, Pete Aiello, will be up here to update you on all that stuff in here. And you mentioned your single in another race. Mine comes in this final race with the 5. I'm glad you got it on top. Usually you don't even mention my singles. And that is Starship Carnegie, who's sitting on a winning performance after responding to the drop of competition with a game 2nd place finish at this level and distance. I thought that was the key. Steve Dwoskin, Miguel Vasquez. It's a daughter of Super Saver.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you that I think this is going to be the right place for this horse. Had dropped down to this level last time off of that performance. Was dueling and got caught at the wire, but I thought that it was game, so you could certainly come in here. I didn't think to single for this race because I'm also interested in the number 4, Little Jen W from the Carlo Vaccarezza barn. I'm treating this one as a first-time starter. I went back and watched this race. You see lines. That was done April. She just reared in the gate and just didn't run the race. She was declared a non-starter there. That was 3 months ago. That was on the turf, though, so $25,000 maiden, so she's dropping as well. Again, treating her as a first-time starter.
Yeah, I mean, I got to run the ticket for all the reasons you mentioned. The other horse I had some interest, a bit of a pricing, I would believe. I don't know, at 10-1 on the morning line. Is Joyful Spirit. Break from the outside, drops to this level today. First start since facing tougher before the layoff with some limited success, but I like the connections of Dave Casson. Going to have jockey Larry Mejias atop this. It's a bit of a shaky proposition, but I just thought somewhere in the ticket. And more reason why I singled the 5, because I thought all the other horses had more stories than the 5 in here. You also went with the number 9.
And this one was eased last time out, so continuing on with that theme that everybody's got some question marks. Everybody's got a little baggage in this
Well, that
race.
was my thought process in here. You know, everybody that I liked besides the 5 had some answers they had to do. We're about to turn it over to Pete Aiello, but I want to mention one thing. Acacia's off for another assignment for a few weeks, so this is the last handicapping show she'll be doing with me for a little while, but then she'll be here all afternoon. Don't get worried now. But I just wanted to say thanks for all your help on the early show, but you'll be back in a few weeks.
I'll be back in a few weeks.
So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get Pete up here in just a couple of moments.
Good luck today, everybody.